Okay, today is June 13, and we're going to call this meeting to order now. It is 7 p.m. and this is a public meeting of the City of Portland Police Accountability Commission's Subcommittee on Community Engagement event. We're gonna review our logistic announcement, including interpretation. We have the Spanish language interpreter. Please give the information in Spanish for the Spanish interpretation now. Oh, they're not yet here. I'm sorry. Yeah, we have the ASL. Heather, welcome. Welcome here. We will move to that later. We will have a Spanish language interpretation and ASL interpretation available through Zoom for today's meeting. This public meeting is subject to City Administrative Code and conducted under the provisions of Oregon Public Meeting Law. We have for Zoom and chat function, we have chat transcript will be included and meeting record for this meeting. And for Zoom Q&A functions for questions only, not for comment. Not all questions will be answered. If answered, both questions and responses will be included in meeting records for this meeting. Other questions will be included in agenda planning for future PAC and subcommittee meetings. Sí, now I see that Luis Aguilera, nuestro intérprete para españoles, está aquí. Luis, ¿podrías dar el mensaje en español? Por favor.
I'm here too. Do you want me to do it? See, I don't see Luis.
Okay, go ahead. Por favor.
Do you want me to read this page? This page?
Sí.
Yeah. O sea, tenemos disponible interpretación en español y también en lenguaje de señas. Abajo ahí va a haber un globo donde puede darle ahí clic, ¿verdad? En el enlace para ir al canal de español para que escuchen la interpretación. Esta es una reunión pública sujeto al Código Administrativo de la Ciudad y llevado a cabo bajo las provisiones de la Ley de Reuniones Públicas de Oregon. Un transcrito del chat está incluido en el registro de la reunión. Hay una función abajo, si pueden ver, que dice Q y A. Entonces, este es para preguntas solamente, no para comentarios. Entonces, si tienen alguna pregunta, la pueden escribir ahí. No todas las preguntas se van a responder, pero sí se responden. Se van a incluir las preguntas y las respuestas en el acta de la reunión para esta reunión. Otra pregunta será incluida en la agenda, en la planificación para las reuniones futuras.
Muchas gracias, María. Entonces podemos empezar con la interpretación en español también. Gracias. Thank you. The city also offers ASL interpretation, which is being provided by Heather and Amanda. Welcome. You can pin their video feed if that is helpful to you. Finally, the closed captioning is turned on in Zoom as another means for assistance. But please note that this is an automatic captioning services and it is not always accurate. The city supports access to meetings of the Police Accountability Commission and can provide other language support as well. Please email in advance of future public meetings, either as a response to a public meeting notice or directly to policeaccountability@portlandoregon.gov to ask for other access assistance, including interpretation into other languages. Okay. Now we're gonna do the land acknowledge. And today we reflect that we are sitting in the native land of Chinook, Kalapuya, Molalla, Umatilla, Wasco, Wishram, Cayuse, Nez Northern Paleut, Klamath, Modoc, Takelma, Gallis, and Applegate Shasta, Athabascans, Coos, Siasa, Alsea, Tillamook, and Siletz, and Clatskanick. We recognize that there's still Native Americans that live here, and the land was taken from them. But there is still a lot of families and community of Native American. We recognize their work, their contribution, and we recognize that there is a part of our community. Thank you. Now I will pass it to the staff to discuss the timeline.
Thank you, Victoria. The commission is currently in the fact-finding phase of work, expected to go into July. It includes hearing from key stakeholders, identifying barriers to accountability in Portland presently, and examining systems of accountability in other jurisdictions. It also includes increased community engagement work, which this subcommittee is focused on. Future phases of work will develop the parameters for the new police accountability system before the commission presents that to the City Council in 2023 for their consideration and approval. Today is the first meeting of the subcommittee on community engagement events. On Thursday is a full commission meeting with Chief of Police Chuck Lavelle and Deputy Chief Mike Fromm. Next Thursday, the 23rd, is a full commission briefing with Portland Police Bureau Internal Affairs and the Professional Standards Division. The full meeting calendar is at www.portland.gov/police-accountability and is also on upcoming slides. The next slide is the current project plan for the fact-finding phase of the Police Accountability Commission's work. It is not the agendas and it's not set in stone. This slide is mostly for members of the public to be able to understand how the commission gets from now to the end of the phase, which focuses on identifying areas of agreement among commission members as to barriers of accountability to police accountability in current system, best practices from Portland and other jurisdictions, suggestions to consider from experts, as well as taking public comment and meeting with key stakeholders. In parallel to that is the subcommittee on community engagement events, which is working to get more input from the public. Today's meeting is towards the bottom of the screen, the yellow gold box with a purple outline.
Thank you. We're gonna review the community agreements. We're not gonna read it. I'm gonna give a couple of minutes for each of us to read the community agreements. Please let me know if you have any questions or any comments, but let's read these community agreements that they were all prepared by you, and meditate on it, and then after that we can agree to follow these agreements. Next slide, please. Okay, all the agree, please give us your thumbs up or agree in the chat, or thank you. Thank you. For the overview today's meeting, I will pass it to the co-chairs, Tirsa or Connie. Welcome, the Commissioner Tirsa, Commissioner Connie.
You just want me to read this?
Please.
So introductions. As this is the first meeting of the subcommittee, members will briefly introduce themselves to each other and the public. The subcommittee mandate review. Members will briefly review and propose and task of the subcommittee, including the PAC or the PAC agenda and scope, the subcommittee one-page description, and the full commission brainstorm from April 21st about town halls and listening sessions, potential town hall partners, and the member lead concept. Tirsa, do you want to do the final two?
Sure. Subcommittee members will first discuss member leads' responsibilities around town hall preparation processes, as well as consistent processes for member leads to follow when communicating community input back to the full commission. Following that, the subcommittee will assign member leads to begin planning town halls and discuss ideal timelines for town halls and listening sessions. And then public comment. Are you able to read that one? The captions kind of cover it for me.
Oh, sure. Towards the end of the meeting is a public comment period where members of the public can contribute their opinions and views to the conversation.
Thank you, Commissioner Connie. Thank you, Commissioner Tirsa. This isn't in the agenda, but we have done introductions at every first meeting of the subcommittees historically. So please, I'm gonna ask every one of the members of the subcommittee if they can introduce themselves. We're gonna go around and the first person can call the other person, and you have a minute to say your name. You can say what you do, why you're here. It's just a minute, an introduction. That way everyone of the public know who's part of the subcommittee. Who would like to start? Tirsa? Okay, go ahead. Thank you, Tirsa. Commissioner Tirsa.
Hi, everyone. Tirsa Orellana, she, her pronouns. I am a co-chair for this committee, and I am in the Police Accountability Commission because I believe that police accountability is overdue. I come from a community that is over-policed, and historically there's been a lot of police brutality. So I'm here because I want to see accountability within law enforcement. And Charlie, would you like to go next?
Sure, thank you. Charlie Michelle Wesley, she, her pronouns, tribal member of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. On the Community Engagement Committee, looking forward to that actually. And as I come to the PAC from an extensive lifetime of lived experience with police brutality, and have never seen or experienced accountability in those in that lifetime experience. So let's see what we can do about that. And how about Lavisa?
Sure, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Hi, my name is Lavisa Lloyd. I use she and her pronouns. I am somewhat new to Portland. I moved here 3 years ago from Washington, D.C. which is a very heavily policed region of the country. I come partially because I'm from an over-policed community myself. I'm a Black American, I'm a queer American, and I've worked in and around law enforcement before, and I'm hoping that I can bring some of that expertise to the PAC. All right, thank you so much. Connie, would you like to go next?
Hi, I'm Connie Wan. I use she, her pronouns. I am also a member of the PAC Commission, but the co-chair for this community engagement subcommittee. And I am participating in both the commission and the subcommittees. I feel is very important to create accountability. Like many of my co-commissioners have said, there's a great lack of that. And the community engagement piece, I think, is particularly important to that accountability. So I think that that's why I've joined this particular subcommittee. And I will pass it off to Christian.
Hello, can you hear me? Cool. I'm Christian. No strong pronoun preference, but they, them, or he, him works just fine. Generally, that's what people use, and I'm okay with that. I represent, like a lot of other people in the commission, the over-policed communities as well. Low income, Latine, indigenous background, the heritage kind of thing, as well as a bit of the art community too. So that's kind of the experience that I bring to the table. And like everyone else, I'm hoping to help contribute to creating more accountability for the police, because it's obviously, I feel like, don't need to say it over and over again, everyone understands, but it's pretty bad. And it's been bad for a really long time. So hopefully we can contribute to that. Thank you. I'll pass it off to, I think CMOP hasn't gone, right? And Faith also hasn't gone, but I'll pass it off to CMOP, Commissioner CMOP. Apologize. And
Get it right.
Co-chair as well.
Gracias, Christian. My name is Simab Husseini. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a community organizer. My focus tends to organize around Black, Muslim, immigrant, refugee communities. My specific focus for these communities tend to be around civic engagement, leadership development, and social justice, police accountability specifically in that. Reason why is because I come from also over-policed communities. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. I personally have experienced negative impacted experience with the criminal legal system and incarceration. I also am a Muslim American who, have been very active post 9/11 regarding federal overreach, police overreach, and the entire system and its targeting of Black and Brown community members, particularly in the Muslim diaspora. So that's what brings me onto our police commission. In this current phase, I am a co-chair for the fact-finding phase. And yeah, happy to be here. And I will pass the ball to Faith, Commissioner Aiken.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Faith Aiken. I use she, her pronouns. I'm very excited to be in this subcommittees. Community engagement is one of the reasons why I want to be here. I guess I represent the disability community. I have a significant long-term developmental disability, and folks with disabilities are really over-policed, and I am here to figure out a way that we can listen to folks with disabilities and make our spaces accessible to them. So, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, commissioners. What a powerful group. We're now going to move to review of the subcommittee purpose and mandate, and I will pass it to the staff.
Thank you, Victoria. The Police Accountability Commission adopted a agenda and scope document in March, which includes a list of ongoing tasks beginning in this phase of work and extending throughout the remainder of the PAC's mandate. This is the upper portion of the slide. Includes taking testimony from 4 categories of groups. This subcommittee is focusing on planning events to hear from the 2 highlighted groups. For the fact-finding phase specifically, the agenda and scope document also addresses public education on the PAC's work and listening to any entity or individual who has interest in this issue. Some of these are narrower groups and others are broad, which is why the PAC will be planning both town halls and listening sessions. When the subcommittee was created, it was mandated, as you see in the first paragraph of this slide. This subcommittee is expected to meet 3 or 4 times this phase of work, with the gaps in between mostly focused on PAC members, not just members of this subcommittee, but commission members broadly, planning events in conjunction with town hall partners and staff between meetings. I'll just let you take a moment here to read that upper paragraph. And finally, the next 2 slides recap the April 21st full commission meeting, which was a work session on community engagement. This is a summary. It's very hard to boil down 2 hours of discussion to this, but anyone who's interested can go to the PAC website, choose past meetings, and navigate to April 21st to find more information as well as the video. This slide has definitions of what we mean when we say town hall and listening session, as well as some town hall specific items, which that meeting's conversation assigned to the idea of member leads. So a town hall is a public event run with a particular group or organization designed to get feedback from that group or organization's members and network. And there are 5 items that were brought up as potential tasks for member leads in that April 21st meeting. Responsible for working with staff to connect with partner organizations and co-create town halls. For helping ensure attendance, for helping get more PAC members to attend, 2 to 10 PAC members can come to the town hall. Conveying that community input back to the other PAC members who may not have been present, and then telling community members who gave input how their input was used. Today's meeting agenda includes discussions of the 2 bolded items, planning the event and concepts around ensuring town hall community input gets to PAC members so that it can be reflected in PAC discussions and decisions. And finally, this slide, which it occurs later on, so we won't pause here for long because we'll be seeing it later. This is a list of many of the suggestions received for potential partner organizations at the April 21st full PAC work session on community engagement. Again, we'll repeat this later on, so we don't need to read them all now. And this other slide also repeats later on, and it's the updated calendar of upcoming PAC meetings. 2 key points to know now. First, the PAC is meeting some Mondays and nearly every Thursday through mid to late July. So community engagement events that this subcommittee would plan would need to be planned around that. And secondly, although there is a full list of groups on the previous slide, some of those groups may be sending representatives to a briefing with the full commission in June or July. And that may affect the subcommittee's thoughts on the ideal timing of town halls with those groups when we discuss that later on. Any questions on any of this for the co-chairs or staff before we progress on to the discussions? I'll pass it back over to facilitators.
Thank you. Now we're now gonna move into our discussion. We have 2, each of which will take between 10 and 15 minutes. As a reminder, you can speak as many times as you like, but only for 2 minutes at a time. We want everyone to speak, but please allow me to facilitate by raising your hand in Zoom, and be aware I'm using a weighted stack. Finally, please answer each discussion question in a forward-looking and constructive way. What process should be consistently followed in town hall preparation by PAC members who are assigned as member leads? And also, you have any questions about member leaves, let me know. Any questions? Yes, please, Commissioner Faith, go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I have a couple of process ideas that I'd love feedback from the subcommittee on. In my day job, I collect metrics and do survey design. And so one thought for me is it'd be great if we are listening for the same information at each session. And so whomever the member lead is, if we had like a standardized form. So if I'm the member lead at Apano and I go to the session, that the form is then available for me to fill out after the session, so that the full PAC could read kind of what's happening at each session. It'd be also lovely. I know in the community engagement framework, one of the pieces that felt really important was that we are being transparent in what we're hearing. So if people feel okay with it, if we could even have like the form that we're all filling out up on our website so we can automatically update like what we're hearing at each engagement session. That's something that also came up to me. Those are my ideas for now.
Thank you very, very much, Commissioner Faith. Is there any comment about what Commissioner Faith mentioned, or a question or another idea? Yes, Commissioner Lovisa.
Thanks. I just wanted to say thank you, Faith. I think that's a great idea. And I really like the idea of having some standardized questions, or at least questions that are answered by the people who are listening. And yeah, I love the idea of it being sort of a open and available, so that it's like it's easy to use, it's easy to get to. It's like a fillable form of some kind. Is that what you're thinking, like a fillable form?
Yeah, like a
Okay.
Google form.
Other ways of doing this, or maybe there's ways we could like split up the sort of the work a little bit. I mean, time after that, but maybe one buddy can for
Additional comments about this idea or additional
gap input from
ideas?
like both people, and
I can repeat the questions. What processes in town hall time as member leads for the town halls, or activities for other community engagement, other town halls, or in the activities you realize are your work or your volunteer work? Yes, Commissioner and Co-Chair Lovisa, please, and then Commissioner and Co-Chair Connie. I mean, not Lovisa, Tirsa.
the option to have the belief that should be consistent. Yeah.